and welcome to It's Our House podcast with me, Faz. I've got my buddy Dees. How you doing, mate?
Really good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. And we've got Mr. Lawson, as always. How are you, pal?
I'm doing good, boys. How are we doing? I'm back in my work.
Yes,
First day since after
yes.
Christmas.
Love it. So today I want to talk about our sponsor. We are sponsored by Mystery Wrestling Shirts. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. To get 10% off your order, just put IOHPod10 at checkout. That's IOHPod10 at checkout. But today, we've got a former X Division champion, Ring of Honor TV champion, and Ring of Honor Tag Team champion, Mr. Kenny King. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing? Thanks
Good,
for having me.
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. Before we go into the questions, I saw your Twitter today. Obviously, the passing of Brodie Lee. Did you have any run-ins with him? Did you ever get to meet him?
Yeah, man. I met Brodie quite a few times when in the early ROH on HD Net days. It was Brodie Lee was doing it was almost like doing a tag team with Grizzly Redwood. It was like the little rig and the big rig, and he was. Just a fun dude to be around, really, really cool. I was really happy when he had gotten signed WWE. And then the last time I saw him was at Wale Mania. I was called Kofi's Wale Mania, right? So I was at Kofi's Wale Mania, and I hadn't seen him in 5, 6, 7 years at that point. When he came up to me, he was so warm and so just, hey man, how's everything going? And he was just we talked a little bit about just what his life after WWE was like, and how he was just just looking forward to it. And and it just sucks, man. He's one of those guys that I don't know if there's anybody who's got anything bad to say about him. He was a good dude.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about obviously his family and how much of a good dad he was. So our thoughts are with the family at this time, and we hope all the love in the world towards them. So we'll move into wrestling now. All our loves, all our passions. So could you give us the first memory of wrestling? How you got into it? What was the first feeling?
I'm gonna date myself. My very first memory was a VHS tape. God, it might have been WrestleMania 3, it might have been WrestleMania 4, but the very first match that I can remember like obsessing over was Demolition versus Strike Force. So that's how far back this thing goes.
I'm in your boat, by the way, Kenny. I'm in your boat as well, man.
Right. So when having to adjust the tracking so you can see it on rewind. Oh man, that was good rewind, and it takes like 30 seconds to get back to the 10-second spot. So,
and then when you pause it, they're like.
It's kind of like does like this, right? So it was kind of how that started for me, and just it carried on. I never really stopped. I never really stopped watching wrestling. I can remember being in high school and wanting to be a pro football player, and my dad coming in the kitchen and yelling at me because I'm not watching Monday Night Football. I'm watching Monday Night Raw. Like, well, you want to be a football player? You're watching this stuff. I'm like, I like this. I like watching that. So it's something that I caught on to early and never really let go of.
Cool, fair enough, man. When you mentioned football, you were a strong safety. I know that you were redshirted for about a year or so. What was it like playing football, and why did you not stick at football? Did you just lose interest, or did you have desire to go elsewhere and do other things?
No, man. I loved wrestling. That's the reason why I moved from Florida to Las Vegas was football rather. I loved football. That was the reason why I moved, because I wanted to have a better shot at going to the league, a better shot at playing for a better team, and just having a little bit more notoriety at a different school. And my entire move to Vegas was centered around football. And I think it was wrestling. If it wasn't for wrestling, I don't know if I'd still be playing football, right? But my life would have taken a completely different path, because if it wasn't for Tough Enough, I literally stopped playing football. Like after we did film Tough Enough, I was supposed to go back and play football at UNLV. And because I thought that I'd won Tough Enough, I was like, I'm not going to go out here and blow my knee out in spring practice, and they got to tell me why I couldn't do it. So, needless to say, they weren't very happy with me at UNLV, and that kind of ended my football career.
There's a lot of wrestlers like that have moved on from the NFL or American football to the wrestling scene. Is there something in there? Because obviously you've got likes of Goldberg, yourself, Roman Reigns, The Rock. There must be more and more and more. What is it between the two? Is there something that is so similar?
Well, I mean, those dudes were infinitely more successful at it than I was.
Hey, Kenny, you ain't finished yet, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. I'm done with football for sure, right? But it was just one of those things that it was. I played football and I was a theater major, I double majored, but I've been acting since I was a kid. So football, wrestling is a natural kind of transition from football because it's physical. You have to be athletic. You have to, there's a performance aspect of it. There's a showmanship aspect of it. So, and wrestling, give or take who you talk to is every bit, if not more physical and taxing on your body than a football season or anything like that. So, it is a natural transition for a lot of guys, just because, there's certain things about football that I miss that I can't do in wrestling. I can't have, reckless abandonment for my opponent and not care. And so there's certain things about that you have to kind of rein in, but it's very similar in the physical and in the showmanship aspects.
Cool, man. So, as you said, Tough Enough. Let's discuss Tough Enough, because that's something that it was very interesting to me, because what are you shaking the head at?
It's the cat, yeah.
Oh, the cat. Hey,
love
it's
it,
all good.
love
it's
it.
all good.
I've got a cat. Well, good. It's all good.
I've got like a dog that looks like a cat. So anyway, we digress.
If you go back and do watch 100 of these Zoom interviews or these video interviews I've done, she's made an appearance of like.
Listen, we're not here for Kenny King. We're here for the cat. You know what I mean? So Tough Enough. What was that like? I mean, I've said before, there's a program we had here in the UK, Grado, we just discussed before we came on air with ICW, where they mould kind of people that want to be a wrestler into a wrestler as such. But Tough Enough seems a lot bit more raw, if that makes sense. It was a lot more hard hitting. How was it for you to be in there? Because I believe there wasn't really much of a wrestling background for yourself. Was it like a cat and headlights, or was it something that you were like a duck to water and you thought, this is what I want to do?
It was one of those things that, like I said, coming straight from playing football, it was. I took to the athletic, the bare bones and the fundamentals of it, your footwork and how to do this and how to do that, because obviously athleticism is athleticism, but it's a completely different style of beating on your body, right? And wrestling training is a completely different level of intensity of that style, because you have to, when I train people now, I tell them that you have to build what's called a body callus. You have to get to where this stuff doesn't hurt right now. It'll hurt later. But you got to get I hurt you right now. And so that is it's a taxing thing. It's taxing physically, it's taxing mentally. I can remember plenty of times getting up 7 o'clock in the morning and thinking to myself, why the hell am I here? Like I signed up for this. Like, I don't want to do this. And it's just, you have that, and then you have the fact that it's on television, and then you have, for me, I'm a fan, so now I'm looking at Al Snow and Bob Holly and Chavo Guerrero and Ivory, and all these people are coming in, and it can be overload, because one, it's a competition, and two, they are in a way trying to break you. They're trying to see what it is that you can take, who's tough enough. So it was a whole lot thrown at me that I wasn't necessarily unprepared for, but I hadn't gone to school for, I hadn't studied for. It was just one of those things where you get in and I just wanted to do it. And after a while, after the first couple of weeks, I was like, okay, it clicked for me. I was like, damn, this is kind of, I get it. I like this. I want to see what's the next thing? What else can we learn? Because 12 weeks of Tough Enough, I didn't learn, hardly anything, I learned just enough to do, I don't know, me and Chavo might have had a 3 or 4 minute match that he drugged me through, you know what I'm saying? So it was 12 weeks. And when I think about how long it really takes to get good at this, that's what it was. It was just it was the tip of the iceberg for me. And then after I was done, I was like, okay, I guess I'm done with football now, right?
So how did your family take to it? Because as you said, your dad came in and he was like, "Why are you doing this instead of doing this?" So how did he feel about you going from football to Tough Enough?
Well,
or should we not ask that? Should we not ask that?
That's good. I mean, my mom was always, hey, if this is what you want to do, it's whatever. And my dad was always kind of like, you want to do what? Like, why are you doing this? And I can remember one time specifically, we're all at WWE New York for the finale. And we're sitting there watching the match that I had with Chavo. And because the 4 finalists, we all had the last episode was basically like final exams, right? Everybody has their different match with their different trainer. And we'd watched a couple of the other ones, and we'd watched mine. And it's the first time ever my dad looked at me and said, "Holy shit, I think you won." And I was like, "I've been telling you, right?" So, it still was a process, right? Like, the Indies is a thing, and going to the Indies, and I can remember inviting my family to a warehouse behind the Rio casino. Maybe like my first, because after Tough Enough, I didn't take any paid indie bookings for like a full year. I trained at the school and I did shows and whatnot because I didn't want to be like a lot of the people that were coming off of Tough Enough and getting indie bookings and being terrible. And just kind of it was throwing some shade on the name at that period of time. So I didn't want to be that. And I can remember after, I don't know, it was like 30 or 40 people there maybe, and I can remember my dad saying something like, well, you've been doing this for a while now, and are you gonna wrestle in smoke-filled rooms for the rest of your life? And then fast forward right to my very first match at TNA, where they came in from Universal. They came in Universal, and I don't know. I think I got smoked by Abyss in like 5 minutes, but it was still this big television production. And then my mom was like, he's all like, "Oh, that's my son, that's my son." So, you're full of it, bro. Like, I don't want to hear it. You're full of it. It took my dad a little while, I guess, to transition to being a wrestling fan.
I love it.
But he got there at the end. That's the main thing.
Hey, he's there now. Well, he's there now because he likes signing 8x10s to give to his friends.
Yeah.
That's the extent of how much he likes it.
What was it like? What was it like being within the WWE bubble? Because obviously things, WWE are the biggest dog out in the yard, in terms of wrestling. So what was it like being there compared to being in Impact and being in Ring of Honor, the different way that they do things, the different way they train? Obviously, with WWE being on TV and having these big deals, is there a certain way that they try and like mold you while you're there, or?
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference is just the scope of how big everything is. Obviously, WWE is the machine, right? So when you go to a WWE production, it's really a full-scale, large production, and guys are trained now, and even back then, I guess. I mean, I didn't know any different with my training, but I guess the guys are trained for that system, for that machine to use me to kind of fit. So when it's their time to kind of get on the wheel continues to move, right? And for better or for worse, that's kind of how the model is now. They don't really give you a lot of leeway to kind of break out and be a spike in the wheel or even grow the wheel. So it's kind of just it's a system. It's a machine. It moves on. It's big. It's grandiose. And that's really just the biggest difference is that you can get. I mean, I'm sure you guys have interviewed a lot of dudes who've been through the WWE system. You can get lost real quickly. So
Well, going back to Tough Enough, you mentioned obviously some of the trainers. So Al Snow, Taz, Hardcore Holly, Ivory, and Chavo Guerrero. Who did you actually focus with? Who was the main person that really helped you focus on what you wanted?
See, that's the thing about Tough Enough for me, man. It was like I learned so much from each individual trainer, and each individual trainer kind of you know, they had their own style, and they bestowed different things and different stories and techniques on you. Like obviously Al was the sound technician. You know, everything that we did, you know, for technique wise was Al, but Bob was for toughness, right? You
Hit you with a chair.
Yeah, he's gonna beat the hell out of you. He's gonna beat your ass, and then he's gonna, you know, now he's making scene. You know, what's your face look like? Are you selling it? What are you doing? And you know, so that's mental toughness. You get that from Bob. And as much as Bob would beat you up, you know, he would also, you know, if he liked you, he would also he would give you those moments too, where he would teach you, where he would coach you. So you wouldn't just be, oh God, here comes Bob. I got to tighten my neck up. You know.
Did they like you?
I believe so. I still have you know, I still have good relationship with all my trainers to this day. So I believe that they all saw something in me, and they all pushed me in their own individual ways. Like Chavo would run me sideways, and Ivory was the one that, like, you kind of, well, you did the first day, you were like, oh, this is Ivory, she's 5'0", there's no big deal, until she hit you, and it was like, oh,
this is Ivory.
She's just gonna hit you harder than Bob does, and that's, you know. So, you know, each person gave you a little bit different, and that's kind of, I mean, what the benefit of that system was. When you have like all-star trainers, you get literally the best of everything and of every style.
To be fair, they are all stars. Like every single one of them, they're all like household names. And to be fair, if you're going to get trained by people, you want them to be the best, and those names there are the very best.
Definitely.
Not always the biggest names in regards to, I don't know, like
star power and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. But in regards to workshop, they're the ones you want. You know, they're the people you'd really want. Nothing against John Cena, but you wouldn't really want to get trained by John Cena. You would want to get trained by someone like that, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, right? Because again, Cena, I've become a gigantic John Cena fan.
100%. So am I.
It wasn't always so. You know what I mean? And I feel like now you want to get trained by John Cena, because I feel like he has learned what it means to be a complete wrestler.
Yeah.
And
He
has absolutely now, you know, if I wouldn't want to learn like the finer aspects of technical wrestling from John Cena. Right?
That's my point. That's my point. That was my point. Yeah. Six moves apparently now.
Yeah. But I believe he teach you how to be how to be a well-rounded individual, because he's an excellent, well-rounded individual.
Cool. Cena would be a great guy to teach you how to survive in the business as well, wouldn't he? Look at how long he's been doing it, how to sort of like survive the backstage politics and things like that.
The Miz would be another one.
We digress. Miz would be a great one. Yeah.
We digress.
Nobody's been on top for as long as Cena has. And
no.
Yeah. Something that he can teach is how to stay the top guy forever. And he didn't go anywhere, didn't move, you know what I mean? Like, didn't do any of the 90s things that we saw in the 90s. Cena was Cena in that same spot, in the same company. And that's got to be a feat in and of itself. So,
Definitely.
But Kenny, you put the nail on the head in that scenario. At the time when he was around, you were kind of like, oh God, here we come again, Cena. But now that he's kind of dwindled away into Hollywood, you actually respect and appreciate what he actually gave to the business. You know, it's one of them. It's one of them. You don't know what you've got until you've gone scenario. If that makes sense.
100%.
This is about you. This is about you.
I talk about John Cena all day. You know?
So could we.
That's another episode. Kenny, so 2005, you signed with TNA for the first time. TNA was obviously a very different situation back in 2005 to what it is now with Impact. When you first joined TNA, you were, like, no offense, but obviously you were mainly used as a jobber. As you said, you were pretty much squashed by Abyss in your first match. You were only there for sort of like 9 or 10 months before you were released. What was it like being in TNA at that point? Obviously, you would have had high hopes after coming fresh off the Indies, going there, being with a big company, because obviously TNA were still a big deal at the time. So how did it feel at the end of those 9 or 10 months to have been used so poorly?
Well, I had moved to Florida at maybe like mid 2005 there's just more opportunities on the East Coast. I'm looking to get into the Eastern, the Eastern Indies at that point was just the scene. Yeah. So I was looking to get into that, and at that point, TNA started filming in Orlando, so I moved to Orlando. So I can remember it was actually an old Tough Enough buddy, or my old Tough Enough roommate, that got me my first shot there. It was Jess. Well, she's Jess Ciampa now, right? But her name was Jess Ward. She's married to Tommaso Ciampa. So I remember talking to her, and she gave me a call. She was like, "Hey, they're giving them just some extra stuff or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was at the time, but I got a spot where I ended up getting hit in the head with a trash can by Raven. So, and then I came back, and then that ended up getting something else, and so." The Abyss match happened, and I mean, I wrestled like, I was like the who's who, wrestled the who's who's of TNA job matches back then. It was me. You're a right TNA jobber when you tag with Buck Quartermain. And shout out to Buck Quartermain. And I knew Buck from Florida at that time, but now it's like, damn, I was really like that high level, like Barry Horowitz style shit, So, and it was that. It was really just, I was looking forward to kind of just whatever opportunity. Okay, when we wrestle R-Truth, no problem. When we wrestle Lance Floyd, no problem. Just give me. And after about 6 months of that, I was like, damn, I see all these guys who I feel, I see the X Division at that point, at least, and guys, Aries is there, Roddy's there, Lethal, and Shelly and Saban, and all these guys are getting opportunity to wrestle the style that I know I can wrestle. But I keep getting put in these kind of, these positions where I get one cool thing or I do, whatever, but it's just for somebody else, which, I understood that's where I was at, but I was just looking for an opportunity. So this is one of my favorite stories from that time. So I can remember going to see Scott D'Amore, and I find Scott at the backstage at the sound stage, and everybody liked me at that point. Everybody was always like, well, man, we're just looking for some opportunities for you, blah, 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 blah. So I got my courage up and I pulled Scott to the side and I said, Scott, like, I really appreciate all the opportunities. You guys have been great to me. I really, I've been learning a lot here, but I just really kind of feel like, if you give me an opportunity to show what I can do, whether it's an X Division match or just something that I can do, I feel like you'll see that I'm marketable. There's money here. There's something that you can do with me. And Scott looks at me, he says, Kenny, I feel like we just had this conversation. We're not really sure what to do with you, right? Like, some of us feel like, you're too small for the heavyweight division, but there's a lot of us that feel you're too big for the X Division. And as almost if on cue, Samoa Joe walks out of the soundstage with the X Division title. What's up, Scott? What's up, Kenny? Hey, Joe. I watch Joe walk past, and I'm looking back at Scott. Scott is watching Joe, who's 60 or 70 pounds heavier than me at that point. And I'm watching Scott, and he's still watching Joe because he knows that I'm looking at him. And he's other than Joe. And I was like, okay, all right. So, it was kind of like that. It was a great experience. I can go back and look at some of those matches. I got to wrestle Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett, and look at some of those matches and see how far I've come. And so it was a good experience. It was, at the end of that, it just really strengthened my resolve to get to Ring of Honor. I think that's when I was like, all right, well, that's really where I'm gonna go next. And that's what ended up happening.
Remember TNA around about that time though? Was I kind of, am I right saying, guys? That's when it really came out in the UK. Was about 2005.
Yeah,
it was just kind of that NWA tail end, more of a start with TNA itself, but some of the talent they had at that time in particular was absolutely incredible. Still do today, but they really, really had some amazing youngsters like AJ Styles and all these people that we still see today. So you must have learnt a lot, obviously, you're saying, through that. Before Ring of Honor, though, we were going to go with Full Impact, where you won your first gold, I believe. You're now more of a tag team scene now with Jason Blade. You defeat the Briscoe brothers, well-known Briscoe brothers. To be fair, we're massive fans of them here. Great tag team, and really, really done well with their career. What was that like? Going to more of the tag team scene, was it more of a change for you? Did you like to adapt? Was you more of a singles man?
Well, I was definitely singles at that point. And in Full Impact, which was, you know, the feeder system in the ROH, which is kind of where it was what after TNA, I was like, okay, I'm getting in there so I can get into there.
Mhm.
It was, you know, we got, again, there was a whole lot of talent there too that lived in Florida, like Roderick Strong, Eric Stevens. You had guys from Georgia.
Yo, you're stealing our questions here, Kenny. Come on, boy.
You know, so you had guys, man. So the FIP roster was stacked. So it was a situation where they pulled a couple of us together so that, you know, we could, you know, hell, here's 4 or 5 guys. Let's see what you can do. And it was the YRR, and it was myself, Jason Blade. I don't even know if I can say his name, Jason Rance. And
We'll bleep that.
yeah, okay. And, Saul Renaro. So, and it was just one of those things where they threw 40 guys together and it clicked. It really, really worked. And Jason and I really worked well as a tag team. At that point, you know, the Briscoes are the Briscoes. And I preface this by saying, I say this every time, anywhere I talk about the Briscoes. I think the Briscoe brothers are the best tag team on the planet.
That's what we've said.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So,
everyone goes on about the Young Bucks and all that, but Briscoes are the OGs of it, in my opinion.
I like the Bucks, right? They're a good tag team.
Yeah, they are good.
The Briscoes are the best tag team on the
planet.
Ability, you know, just everything. They have it all. So,
but wait now, Kenny, sorry. We're Team STP members, so we have to give a shout out to SOS.
Okay. Shout out to SOS. You know, that's all good. I can get down with the shoulders and savagery, but having warred with the Briscoes and having about 4 or 5 of my teeth loose.
Briscoes.
I'm obligated. So, it was that. So at that point, you know, the Briscoes, obviously they weren't the storied tag team they are now, but they were still one of the top tag teams. And then to be in a feud with them, and then to actually be able to beat them for a tag team championship, it was the beginning of I felt like, okay, this thing is really. It was a good. That's when I started to think that, all right, moving to Florida was a good thing. Like
I should be here.
You know, now it's really starting to pick up. I didn't necessarily get what I wanted with TNA, but the FIP is working out, and so it allowed me to just start working with the Briscoes and really start understanding like wrestling, to what tag team wrestling was all about, and so that was why that's fun for me. Is I was like my first, like, damn, these guys are really, really, really good. And I feel like I say that every single time I get in the ring with them. So,
And what was your dad like when you brought home the gold?
I don't think he gives a shit about that. I think you gotta look at it for like.
It's not a Super Bowl ring. It's not a Super Bowl ring.
I don't think he cared about it. I think honestly, he did care about the X Division title.
So during your first run in Ring of Honor, obviously we sort of covered it a little bit there, but you know you wrestled some big names, some seasoned guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, the Bucks, as you mentioned before. What were some of like your favorite matches? What did you learn from those guys?
Oh man, I learned that even though they're a fantastic tag team, Kevin Steen and El Generico will argue up until they break the curtain. You know, these guys are just. There's a reason why they are where they are. Just continuously, you know, Kevin, Sammy, the Bucks, Roddy. Roddy's one of my favorite opponents because Roddy has this really distinct ability to forget that you're friends. And will treat you like you stole something, and you gotta fight to survive. So that I learned that from Roger Strong, how to erase my friendship from professional wrestling matches. But you know, these are guys, like I said, they are why they are for a reason. And when we wrestled, it was just the same thing, you know, guys, iron sharpening iron. And I'm proud and happy to see, you know, where all of those guys are. I just watched the match that I love. And I know they love it too. It was me and Red Titus versus Colin O'Reilly. Cole and O'Reilly. like a final battle, and it was just such an amazing match. We still like everything that I saw a couple of years ago. We talk about that match because just the energy and the chemistry in that match was just it was tops, as you guys say.
It was tough.
Tip top.
It definitely was tough.
Excellent.
Yeah, so following that, you obviously returned to TNA. Was there a difference from the first run? Obviously, you moved into the tag team, to back to single. How was your second run in TNA? Obviously, with the X Division title as well.
Well, you won a match. That must have been good.
Yeah.
Finally.
My first one. So I was like, great. You know, that was a good time. That was a time where there was obviously a lot going on in the political aspect of professional wrestling and that, but that was a time where I bet on myself in the ring, where I didn't care about any of that other stuff, and I said, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm gonna show, you know, I'm gonna come in the ring and I'm gonna show out, and I'm gonna bet on myself, and my ability is going to take me through all of this. And you know, through matches with guys like Zema Ion, who God, I can't remember what's his new name.
Yes.
He's with Angel Garza in NXT. I can't. Joaquin Wilde, that's his new name.
Yeah.
See, I can't. All my friends got old names. I don't remember anything. Yeah, I mean, my matches with him, I think those are my favorite because every one of those matches got better, and you could see us just doing different things and becoming more comfortable. Getting to wrestle somebody who is like a cornerstone of my pro wrestling life, Rob Van Dam, and beating Rob Van Dam for the X Division Championship when I was the biggest ECW fan there was. Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn is like my favorite series of matches. To, you know, kind of having to find myself again, and then finding myself in a group with MVP and Bobby Lashley, and then having to find a way to stand out in that. So I learned. I felt like I had 3 different careers my second time around, but I learned so much, and the exposure was so good, and I just learned a lot about myself that, you know, whenever it's time for me, whenever it's time to rise, it's time to rise. And throughout my career, I've been able to step up to any challenge and rise to any occasion.
Did you see any difference? Did you see any difference in the production when you went from the previous TNA to the one you were in the second time?
100%. We went from the only being in the Impact Zone, and you know, I guess who's the biggest names when I was there last time? I mean, they had just signed Kurt when I was there last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Kurt and Christian, I think. Oh, I take that back. That's
Nash. We would have had Nash as well, no?
No, they might have. He might have been doing the Paparazzi series with Aries, but I think they did, one of my last shows, or sometime around that time, was Sting's first Final Resolution. So Sting just got pulled. So the talent was there, but it was a completely different machine by the time I got there, being on Spike TV weekly, live TV, walking in and seeing Hogan and Bischoff and the Dudleys and Kurt and Sting. So, you know, it felt, and doing UK tours and live TV. So it felt very, very big time. It felt very much
a 4-sided ring as well, rather than a 6.
Well, they switched that on us for no reason. They did that. That was toward the end where it was like, what's going on here? But you know, to be able to work in both of those rings was cool.
What did you prefer?
4-sided. 6-sided is a little smaller and things come at you. But honestly, you get comfortable in either one. But 6-sided, it does take a little higher level of awareness, just because, okay, he's not just going to come from here, 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 and here. There's 2 different ways to come. So it just makes things a little quicker. You got to be a little faster, and you get tired a lot quicker.
So carry on.
Sorry, you go, mate. You go, mate.
No, I was going to say, moving on then to, you've just said you're an ECW man. I appreciate that, because ECW was one of my favourite promotions ever. Rob Van Dam, you had a gigantic hill to climb to get that final X Division title. I think, was it 4 or 5 attempts that you had to get there?
Yeah, it was like I was married to the guy. It was a while.
How did it feel for you to finally, claim the X Division title, the title that you were told previously that you were too big for?
Yeah, it was surreal. It's still one of my favorite moments. Because it's the X Division Championship. When I was there the first time, all I was looking at was the X Division. I didn't care about the heavyweight. I just wanted to let me turn me loose on the X Division. And it's just the lineage of AJ, the lineage of Joe, Daniels, Jerry Lynn, Low-Key, all of these dudes who
I think it's safe to say it was probably at one point better to watch than the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
the X Division, because the type of matches that were getting put out week in, week out were just fantastic. Phenomenal. Yeah, brilliant.
That question. So, to climb that hill and then honestly to beat Rob for it, like it would have been great no matter what, right? But for me, so I beat Rob Van Dam for the X Division Championship. Like that's I don't know, it's ridiculous.
It's Rob fucking Van Dam.
Just saying it out loud. Just saying it out loud sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Exactly, man.
Sounds ridiculous to me. So, and that was me. I did it. I could watch it over and over and over and over. So it's still a very, very special moment in my career for me.
Cool. Rightly so.
So you mentioned not long ago about your time working with MVP and Bobby Lashley, obviously as part of the Beatdown clan. What was it like working with those guys? Have you remained friends with them? And what do you think of what they're doing now in WWE with the Hurt Business? Obviously quite a similar sort of faction to what you guys were doing together with the Beatdown clan.
Well, it was this, right? It's I just come back on it's one of those cosmically imposed hiatuses that from TNA that I had, and they were coming to bring me back. They had actually, to be fair to them, they shot a whole bunch of vignettes. I was coming back as a King of the Night, and I didn't really know what that meant, but I was coming back and I was happy. And then they signed MVP, and then our paths kind of crossed. So I can remember saying to myself, I don't know how this is going to work because we occupy a lot of the same space. Our characters do. We do, the way that we speak. We're very, very, very similar. So I don't know how if this could go real, real well or it cannot go well because we're trying to fight for the same lines and trying to do the same thing. And from the very first time we started working together, man, we just clicked. We MVP and I, we understood. I don't know. It's just like we understood where we fit and where the actual space that we do occupy, and that's why it works because he can do this and I can do this, and it works perfectly. Whereas sometimes we have to kind of do both. And with Bobby, I mean, to stand next to MVP and stand next to Bobby, and then have to find a way to stand out and pull my own weight, that made me kind of, I have to set my game up. And it just all worked perfectly because it was the first time maybe ever that you've seen three black guys on TV and wrestling, and there's no rap music, there's no gangsters, there's no stereotypes, none of this bullshit. It's just goal-oriented, physical dudes, just like
it should be.
Just like every other stable in wrestling history.
Exactly.
Just badass, goal-oriented dudes that will take it nicely or beat your ass for it. And that was ultimately what we tried to produce, and that's what we loved about the freedom that we had there because they didn't push us. We pushed them. Honestly, we pushed them a lot, and that's why I'm so happy to see what these guys are doing now because they've been able to effortlessly transition what we were doing there to what they're doing now. It's the same thing. You have four dudes in designer suits, look good, and are fantastic wrestlers, can talk, and they're whipping your ass like it's a corporation, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what they should be.
Perfect, and it's perfect.
The reason we gave Chris this question, by the way, is because he's a massive Hurt Business fan.
Yeah, I think they're the best thing, other than Fiend and Alexa. I think that Hurt Business is the best thing on WWE TV at the moment. Has been for months and months and months. You sort of alluded to it there, Kenny. Was it sort of like more your guys' idea to do that? Was that something that you pushed for? Was it a creative decision? Because obviously we've seen it in the past where a few guys have come together with an idea and want to, sort of, I'm going to say it, the New Day. Three guys.
Every
three
episode,
guys
Kenny.
do.
Every episode.
They weren't like directionless, but maybe you could argue that you could argue that maybe Kofi was a bit directionless at that stage, and obviously Xavier Woods as well. Those guys had that idea. They sort of like pitched it. They did their own thing. Was it sort of, were you guys left to your own devices there, or was there much input from creative?
It was the idea for us to kind of get together was pitched by creative, but the way that we did it and how it transitioned from a stable with no name to the Beatdown Clan was mostly us. Like we knew that we had to transition it, because what Bobby and MVP and I had was good, but the idea to bring Joe and Loki in was like we're gonna honestly it was called the plan to kill the Bullet Club. So
yeah.
And the idea behind it was just so good, and when you have guys like that who don't just, okay, let's grab this guy, you 5 or 6 guys who are legit friends, we travel together, we hang out together anyway, that's what you're going to get. And it was too short-lived.
Sounds it.
Like I said, man, I talk to MVP quite often. We're still very, very good friends. I mean, I'm friends with all those guys: Shelton, Cedric, Bobby. We speak very often, and I'm just really, really happy for everything.
I mean, that is 5 legit badasses altogether. You know what I mean? The ones you said there, and Homicide as well. I'm right saying he was included as well at one point. Yeah.
Yep. Homicide.
So 6 absolute.
We're not going to talk about Sean Hernandez. We don't need him. Not talking about. But yeah, it was. So, it had the opportunity to be something serious.
As I said previously, we're STP. We had Shane Taylor Promotions on previously. We're going to have him on again. Have you spoke to him about what have they came to you with ideas of what you did in regards to the Beatdown Clan, or did you see a similarity with them as well?
With Shane Taylor?
Yeah.
I see STP. I don't see STP as a Beatdown Clan. I see STP as it's a camp, right? Shane is a guy who has literally carved out his own niche, right? People were not looking at Shane to be successful after Keith left. And Shane looked at all of them and said, I'll be damned about that. And carved out his own niche and said, I'm going to do this my way, the way that I say I'm going to do this, and sought out like-minded individuals. Now, I guess on the surface, that is very similar, right? And I guess maybe the only difference is the initial star power is a little different. Like it's only going to be a matter of time for SOS as a household name too. But I feel like this is very grassroots, and this is very much like in the next. We're getting to watch right now the
evolution,
the very beginnings of something that's going to be shaping wrestling.
The brotherhood and that's very similar, though. I'm assuming, though. Yeah,
but 100%. And Shane and I are very close. And
how is your neck since that clothesline a few weeks ago?
It's about to leave then. Shoot, Jesus.
My bad.
That one and then getting hit with Welcome to the Land. That's all. I owe Shane for that, and trust me.
I have to say though, all joking aside, that was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Because I think it wasn't actually that long since you really came back. Not you personally. I mean, Ring of Honor in general had came back onto the scene since all COVID, and then you and Shane put on that match. And honestly, I genuinely thought that was one of the best matches I've seen this year. It was so good, and it was so hard hitting, and it was just, you knew you two had trusted each other, but you just let it go, and you were just, it was a battle. It really was a battle. It was so good.
It was a fight, man. It was a fight. It was a scrap. It was all of that. It was what we needed. One, I feel like, because it became, COVID, this whole thing, the silver lining behind COVID is, it became a little in vogue to kind of hate on Ring of Honor, and no matter what Ring of Honor did, just this and that. So to be able to come back and I love the redirection, and I love the refocus, and so shout out to the creative direction team for that, because it's really just been about, hey, look, we're going to put two talented wrestlers in the ring, and we're going to give you some backstory, and we're going to let them do what they do, and that is fun. And that's the literally the foundation, the basis of Ring of Honor. So getting back to that and getting back to showing people how talented our roster is, literally top to bottom.
Definitely.
100%.
I think that's been the real bonus of all of this happening, because we really just got back to basics, and people are now like, oh my God, Ring of Honor is so good. Well, we've kind of been like this.
Always been good. Always been good. Exactly.
We've always said that about Ring of Honor. I've always said Ring of Honor is probably, in my opinion, one of the most important promotions ever, because of and people, I keep saying, the talent in that place is, I don't know who your scouts are, I don't know how you get them, but every person that comes through that door seems to be a superstar in the making, or if not already a superstar. It's just fantastic. And if I'm being honest with the whole COVID thing, I wasn't worried as such, but I was a bit more concerned with Ring of Honor than I was with your WWEs and your AEWs, and that's no disrespect to Ring of Honor. But what you've done since it's happened has been remarkable. It's been great, and it's been must watch for me. I love it every week. Watch it, brilliant.
Yeah, that's like I said, man. It just gave us the opportunity to reset, and I think sometimes time heals all wounds, right? So whatever it was, and there's a lot of factors involved to it, but us being able to come back and focus on just the basics, man. Going back, like the Pure tournament was a perfect way, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because other promotions are doing different, less wrestling related situations, right? So okay, let's go back and be wrestling for a little while and see how that goes. And we got the characters and we got the wrestlers, so we're just putting it together.
You need to get my boy Joe Henry back from Edinburgh. That's where I'm from. He can't come over, I believe. Is that right? I mean, what's that all about? They've got that much talent. They've got talent waiting to come over.
You don't want Joe Hendry coming over and then getting infected with this American stuff over here.
True, man.
Keep Scotland a nice American COVID-free place, right?
Well, we always say America takes things too far, and you're just proving yourselves again, aren't we?
You always got to be number one.
One way or another.
So you keep Joe, because Joe looks great right now. Joe's been doing this fantastic fight science thing that I'm really enjoying. So let's leave Joe alone right now.
So let's go into Ring of Honor. Then you came back. You've come back as a singles person, like I said previously. You're more of a tag team. You're more of a singles person now. You've won the Ring of Honor television title not once but twice. How was that feeling the second run? Again, was there a difference to when it was your first appearance being there, or was it kind of a similarity?
Well, I came back in a tag team. I came back directly with the All Night Express, right? Because even to this day, I don't feel like the All Night Express got what it deserved. And that's you can blame me, you can blame politics, you can blame whatever, but we just didn't get what we've been working for. So I tried to make that happen, and for whatever reason, it just didn't get. It just didn't hit. And even though I thought we were better as a tag team when I came back, as we were when I left, for whatever reason, sometimes we just missed that mark. So it was time for me to be a singles wrestler. And, it's just one of those things where I betting on myself and just saying, I can do this on my own. I've always been, had the tools to make it as a singles competitor. And, winning the television championship, I think I'm one of three people,
more than once.
Yeah, to do it. So that is in and of itself says a lot, because there's a lot of talented people who've held that television championship. So, and
we've done that to Shane a few weeks ago. We went through everyone who had won it and what they'd done so far. Your name was on that list. Don't worry, man.
I never really. I never stopped shooting for things. And if it didn't happen to be that, you know, the world title wasn't in my camp now, I'd be gunning for Rush's ass. But, you know, we take care of each other. So it's just, I'm always about opportunity, and I'm always about leveling up.
Awesome. I love
Cool.
it. Right. So before we move on to the last question, lads, have you got any more you want to ask, Kenny?
I have, but we'll need to get you back on, Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not for tonight,
I actually said to the guys, that because I was doing the research for you, and I was like, there's that much we could talk about. We could fill 3 episodes with you.
Yeah. 100%.
That's good, I think, right? That means I've been doing this shit a long time, I guess, right?
You are a bona fide legend in our eyes, by the way. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not even.
Anytime, guys, anytime.
I love it. I just want to say, by the way, I love the t-shirt. I love the Gangster Christmas. I love it. Gangster rapper.
Sorry, but in my eyes, it doesn't beat the Biggie picture. That Biggie picture. I don't actually think I've looked at you this whole episode, Kenny. I've looked at Biggie because I'm like, that is just. I'm trying to think how my wife is going to allow me to get that in the house.
Didn't you see how he looked at you when you asked me that question about my neck?
Damn right, he was not happy, was he?
Not happy.
I was waiting for the cat to come and make an appearance as well.
No, she's already got her appearance. She's in her trailer.
Yeah, she's done now. She's done.
She's in her dressing room.
You mentioned obviously, you know, COVID, Ring of Honor's back. So, what is the future within wrestling for yourself? What do you envision for the next, you know, year, 2 years, 3 years?
You know, for me, as of right now, the complete domination of Ring of Honor by the Faccione Ingobernables. That's what I got going on. It's myself, Roosh, Dragon Lee, and we just introduced a new member who was waiting to do this for y'all and did Brodie Lee's punk ass. We just did it. So, you know, we introduced the patriarch of La Faccione Ingobernables, La Bestia del Ring, the beast himself. So, I don't know, man. You got a lot of dudes squawking and talking and all that, but I'll put your 4 up against my 4. I dare you.
Love it.
So that's all I'm gonna say about that. You know, the foundation can crow and claim and all this, but ain't gonna be no rope breaks when you get in the ring with us, kids. So
I love it.
That is it.
Awesome. So, Kenny, just want to say again, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's really meant a lot to us. And as Lawson said, we'd love to have you back on. Is there anything you want to push social media-wise, merchandise, shop, anything like that?
Yeah, you know, just hit me on my social media. I got some new shirts being designed, so I'll have those out hopefully pretty soon. But on my social media, at Kenny King, I think it's at Kenny King PB2. Hold on, let me check real quick.
Yes, it
is on Instagram.
I know that because I've been tweeting you for the last fucking 24 hours.
At Kenny King PB2. That's literally all my social media: Twitter, Instagram. Follow me on TikTok because my TikTok game is weak. Nobody watches any of my videos, but I'm trying.
We'll follow you. We'll follow you.
I'm trying to get up there.
Same for us, to be fair.
Yeah. It's hard.
Thanks, Faz.
It's hard.
I'm trying my best.
Drinking water and get 1 million views, and I'm over here putting some creative effort into it.
Exactly.
By the way, can I just say, sorry, but Rev Ron, where did those beats come from? Have you seen them?
No, I have not.
Check out Rev Ron's TikTok. He can spit some rhymes. I'm telling you right now. I was like, whoa, where's this coming from?
But it is, you know, it's freaking Rev Run, right? It's
I know.
Anything.
Yeah, I was just going because I'm a huge like hip hop, like I'm like old school 1995 type of music, and I was like, damn, that boy can go. I was like, and Lee asked me next week because that was some fire, by the way.
I'm gonna check it out then.
Awesome, Kenny. Thank you so much for coming on, buddy. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
Kenny, thank you very much, my man.
Thank you, man.
Take care, boys.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
All the best.
Absolutely awesome, guys.
Brilliant.
What a guest.
Brilliant. Some great
Another
stories
one.
in there.
Ring
Fucking
of
love
Honor.
that Samoa Joe story.
I know, yeah. Tag him.
Fantastic.
Howling.
By the way, can I just say, by the way, Kenny is a genuine nice guy. I know I say it all the time, but like, you know, a lot of these people who have had the career that Kenny have had can be complete arseholes. But not in this scenario at all, because like I say, we genuinely could do 3 episodes on Kenny alone. Because he's done that much, and he is such a, you know, the names he dropped in that episode alone were fantastic names.
And humble with each one he mentioned.
100%.
Everybody we've spoken to has just been so cool and down to earth and just easy to talk to. And
the complete opposite of you, Chris.
I know. I should just fucking leave. Next,
I think it's one of the benefits.
Can I just say?
Go on.
Can I have a wee shout out by
we don't have a choice.
Aye, fuck you. Austin 316 on YouTube, my boy. You legend. We will keep taking the utter piss out of Chris. I promise you.
Yes.
And I'm happy to say Gary is out of hospital.
Even if Austin didn't want you to take the piss out of me, would you stop?
No.
So.
But I mean, we're going back. You know, to the people we speak to, Ring of Honor, you know, ICW. They're just top guys and girls. Every single one we spoke to, they're just, you know, they're on a level playing field. They love to talk about the careers because we love to listen. So I really appreciate every single one.
And you really feel how much of a fan they all are as well. You forget about that
about the
sometimes,
business,
you know.
about the business as well.
Talking about other wrestlers and stuff like that. I'm really excited for next week. I could not be more excited for next week.
Oh yes, it's going to be an absolute shit show.
Can I go?
You go, Austin.
So next week is going to be different. It is going to, because normally we have questions, normally we have a flow, believe it or not. But next week is just going to be fucking carnage because we have got SOS, O'Shea, Shane, and Ron all together, STP, on the one show next week.
On the same Zoom call.
Prepare yourself.
Good luck, Fazza. Good luck, son.
I know. And I think, obviously, we're going to have some questions lined up because we have to have some form of a direction. But it's still going to be awesome. And,
so, guys, if you want to see how not to do a podcast,
join in next week. Yeah.
If you want to see our very, very last ever episode,
don't say that because we've got some fucking billers tuned in.
We have. We've got lots more guests coming up. And, you know, we'll go back to obviously what we started with at the start. Our thoughts and prayers are with Brodie Lee's family. Came out the blue. Non-COVID related, we're hearing something to do obviously with his lung.
If see when someone dies, especially when they die young, you always hear, oh, he was a nice person, oh, he was nice. And I've never met Brodie Lee, and I've never had a dealing with Brodie Lee, but when so many people come out and say, what I've not liked about it in any means at all, but what's been nice about it is it's not just been AEW, not just been WWE. They've all came together, rightly so.
No division.
Rightly so, how it should be, because the guy had a fantastic career. Underused, we could argue about that as well, because I believe he was. Yeah. But at the end of the day, 41 years old, leaves home a wife and children. Condolences can only be given to the friends and family of Brodie, because horrible news.
I keep seeing this one photo of him. It's a black and white photo of him with his two kids, and it breaks my heart every time I see it. We've all got kids, you know. We know how hard that is, but every single tweet, every single Instagram post that I've seen today, you know, obviously they talk about what he did in the ring, what he still had left to accomplish. But like you say, Stu, every single one of them says, great wrestler, even better dad, even better husband. You know, he
that's what it should
came
be.
across as a good guy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I kind of wanted to allude to at the start, and what Lawson said before. It's not about his wrestling ability in the ring. It's nothing to do. The tweets we're seeing are all about how good of a family man and a father he was. So,
and what I'm wanting to do, and I've not actually spoke to you two, so you don't know what I'm about here, but Deej, I noticed you were a tweet where the guy, there was a photo that came out when he was in his WWE career where he didn't have a t-shirt, and a boy made it. He's wanting to. I think we should try and help promote that, because I believe it's going to move all the money goes towards Brodie's friends and family. So 100% we'll back you for that one.
I've told him to. I'd commented on that. I said, like, speak to PWTs, because they're exactly the kind of guys that will help you push something like that, something that's like non-profit. I think they did the same with Shad Gaspard, you know, when he died a few months ago, and that all the proceeds went towards Shad's family that he sadly left behind as well.
You know, 2020 has been an absolute poop show for a lot of people. We've lost, you know, so many people, and obviously this one, you know, was the awful icing on the cake. This
one hit the hardest, I think.
Yeah, 100%, especially because of
Yeah.
his agent and who he left
Because of his
behind.
And obviously I mean, Shad as well was I mean, because and again, I don't want to sound harsh, but Pat Patterson had a really good life. You know, he was at a good age, whereas Brodie and Shad, you know, were middle of the age where they should be, and
There's
just horrible news.
You know, there was big things planned for the Dark Order for himself. You know, and
Yeah.
the good thing we get to say, as we said, AEW fans, WWE fans, every fan across the world has all come together.
And I think both organisations, I think all organisations will give him a good send off.
Yeah, I'm sort of not looking forward to it, obviously, because I wish it had never happened. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on Raw on Monday, what they do on on
Dynamite
on Wednesday on Dynamite.
Because I know WWE have put out his career, haven't they? On
like a playlist sort of thing. Yeah.
But that's the thing. At the end of the day, rivalries aside, it should be about the friends and family of Brodie. End of story.
You know, we also lost Finkel, we lost Hana Kimura, we lost Kamala. So many this year. I think in terms of big names in wrestling, there were like 15 people. Not to downplay anything else that happened, obviously millions of people have been affected by deaths this year. I've lost count of how many people have died of COVID. This has just been the most fucking bizarre, strange, horrible year. And I think to put it as bluntly as I can, fuck 2020.
Fuck 2020.
You know, just fuck this year. 2021, it's not going to start off any better. But let's just look forward to it and hope and do whatever we can to make it better.
I mean, the good thing is there's vaccines on the horizon. There's more medication. You know, the UK, we're getting another one, hopefully authorised in a few days. So hopefully these numbers can start going down, and we can start, you know, hugging our loved ones. You know, telling them how important they are to us. But going back, obviously, as what Lawson says, all our thoughts are with Brodie's family at this time. So thank you guys for being with us. This is our 11th episode. 2020, as we said, has been awful, but you know, out of the ashes, hopefully something good from the future can come from it. I've loved talking with you guys for the past 2 months. It's been a hell of a start to where we are now. It's our house pods, and we're only going to get better and bigger. I want to really say thank you to everyone who tuned in last week as well. We were expecting to have Danny on, but again, unfortunately, we had some issues. But you know, a good chunk of you tuned in to hear our drivel. So keep coming back. We love you guys.
I didn't even know what was going on. I hadn't watched any wrestling because I was away in the Highlands.
You did well. You did well.
I was pretty much tuning in like the rest of them.
But if you could, as I always say, if you could, you know, subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, it really does help us out. We're also on Pro Wrestling Tees, our new logo t-shirts up on there as well. We're looking to do more as we go along. But Deez, you want to push any social media before you go, buddy?
I'm at PWCDs. I wouldn't advise following me. All of our podcast stuff is at It's Our House Pod across all social media platforms. Stu?
Yeah, I am at slawson1417 at slawson1417, and I would advise you following me because I am not a dick.
What?
Well, I am.
You're just good at hiding it. You're good at deflecting it onto me.
Can we still say that word that we say in Scotland that starts with a C? Is that allowed?
No, not yet.
No. I think people get the gist.
Put the effort into fucking bleep it. I'm telling you now, you can do one. I
think people get the gist. They know what you mean. See you next Tuesday.
I'm not a see you next Tuesday. I'm a good see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes. There's a difference in Scotland, ain't there?
There genuinely is.
So as we said, next week we've got the whole of STP. We might just leave and let them talk, see what they can come up with. But I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas, or have had a fantastic Christmas and a Happy New Year, guys. We love you all.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
And we
Happy New Year, guys.
See you all in the next one. Ta-da.
Bye.